All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Spiel Nights weekly talkaroo. Um, yeah. Okay, so these other people are talking in my ear, which you can't currently hear. But anyways, I am your host, Dungeon Boy Burnham. Today I am joined by Morta and the Dragon Man, and we're gonna get right to it. We are talking about Fight Planet, the roguelike or the RPG roguelike tabletop. I don't know. There's a thing, the Kickstarter, and maybe we'll talk about D&D after that. But our main objective is Fight Planet. So with that, here are the goons, Morta and Draken. Welcome to the show.
Howdy, howdy. Question, and you, well, I guess we're live now, but it is streaming, right? I didn't see a pop up on.
Yeah, everything's streaming. Hello, everybody.
Presumably we're streaming.
Okay, great.
And I hear it. I mean, I can unmute.
No,
Okay.
no, it's all good. Sure. Yeah. So, okay, Fight Planet, because Draken might have to leave a little early, so we'll.
Yeah, so we'll start with just the general, the content and rules that you recently sent out the first draft of everything. So
Yes. Okay. So, Fight Planet is classified as a pen and paper roguelike RPG. So, the various computer games that you've known and loved where your character dies permanently, now you can do that in a role-playing setting, but with balls. So, basically with Fight Planet is you generate characters. Those characters get involved in whatever is happening on Fight Planet. There are a number of foes, other fighters, problems, things to be resolved. The characters may prevail, they may not, and when they do not prevail, their replacement is shipped over via a drop pod. They get a little something called the controller's log, where they get to read about what the other person did, and they're like, I guess I could keep doing the same thing, and they land, and we see what happens from there. So essentially, one of the intentions of Fight Planet was to keep character creation as absolutely simple as possible. So you randomly generate your name using the helpful chart I have developed.
I do like that part that you got, like, Big Al Scruffkins.
Yes. You can basically just roll it up with various descriptions and enders, and and you can make the feminine versions. And then if you roll the exact same name, you just call them the second or the third, and so forth. So you generate a name, and then after you generate a name, you generate your ability scores. And so with the now the main dice is the D12. This was deemed a critically important thing that I needed to do. Let's make sure we use D12s because they are ballsy and they're Fight Planet-y. But there are a few uses of D6s, and one of them is to generate the ability scores. And again, this is about rapid character generation. So you essentially roll 4d6, line them up, or just roll 146 4 times in a row, and congratulations, you have finished your character.
So I've got something I want to add to this. Because isn't a D6 like half a D12? So why not roll 4d12 and round up?
Roll 4d12 and round up.
Yep, roll 4d12, divide by 2 for each roll, and round up.
Oh,
bam. Who needs a D6?
I completely agree with that variant.
There's call it like half balls.
Right, that's right. There would be absolutely nothing wrong with those. If you don't want those wimpy, inferior Monopoly-style D6s in a game like Fight Planet.
That's right. Like a kids game here.
I believe that's right. Everybody who's come to Fight Planet is been prosecuted for a serious felony crime, and they have to be an adult basically to do that. So it's serious business here. Yeah, I definitely agree with the other way of rolling ability score is very acceptable. The ability scores there are 4 of them, and they both have a combat component and a social component. And your ability scores are guns, fists, butts, or if you prefer, buns and guts.
And now,
so
I noticed you took out the nuts.
I did. It is because something you may notice in the rules is now Fight Planet is almost an insane overexpression of toxic masculinity, but at the same time, I'm kind of aware of it. So I'm trying to put the examples and the mechanics in a way that would allow male and female characters to play the game.
Females got like inner nuts. It's fine.
Inner nuts.
Call ovaries.
I also used I used guts instead of nuts because I just felt like it for social. It's sort of like your intuition, that sort of thing. But to go down the scores real fast, guns, fists, butts, and guts. Guns is essentially your ranged mechanic, shooting guns, obviously, doing dexterity-based actions. Fists is your melee mechanic. This involves breaking things, that sort of thing. Butts has sort of the feint distraction kind of thing, where you trick your opponent to do like sort of the like somebody who parries and does riposts in any kind of combat game like that. And obviously, Butts has a lot of social components: the charming, the persuasion, the deceiving. Guts is essentially the defensive mechanic in the game. Bad things happen to you, you try to do that. And then there is then there are 3 stats which are derived from your ability scores. Basically, health. Now with health, it's just equal to your gut score, so you don't have a lot of it. Although health can be kind of laborious to break down. Well, not really, but anyhow. But one of the things with health is you'll regenerate some of it, but not very fast. So it makes the chances of death real and very risky. Honor, which I can go into lots of detail, but essentially honor is your ongoing reputation on Fight Planet. Basically, honor is sort of, there's both a role-playing mechanic to it. There's also a real combat. Like if you lose your honor, it becomes much easier to hurt you. So there's a real game consequence to losing your honor. And then there's also consequences to taking down other people. So I sort of see it, it's a very variable mechanic, and it's also kind of a way to keep group cohesion and the like. Then, hold on, the person who I was supposed to pick up, and I did earlier than expected. So I am texting while I am talking. But the final stat is armor. And the armor is generally 10. And I think if you've looked at the other kind of suggestions in this place is you have and now, I mean, essentially maybe with very expensive equipment, you can bump it up. But the idea is, a sort of a 10 sort of represents the tough task. And then 20 level tasks are basically impossible. And unless you get people to team up. So one of the aspects of Fight Planet is you have impossible monsters, but you have to team up and work together to do big things. So simple scores, disposable characters, but everybody has to work together to accomplish those big fights to get the big ratings. Somebody else talk while I text
Okay.
message.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. What the hell's your name? Morta. Do you have specific, I guess, comments or reactions in regards to?
I feel well. So I was able to get an advanced look at this too, and I am amazed by what Draken put together. I definitely want to put in the variant that a D6 is really half a D12, so it's like half a ball or half cocked. I don't know. We'll come up with some sweet name for that. And then we can just do this with big old nice round D12s. I really like the way that everything's put together. I like the idea that you have to work together even though you are on Fight Planet. I want to see more about the honor mechanic. Because I think that's a pretty cool idea too. And then the thing I got to mention, and I'm just going to steal Draken's thunder, is the friggin' toe coin.
Oh man, yeah, that toe coin, that was pretty funny. I laughed.
So, do you want to describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I can go for it. So the basically what it is after you defeat a enemy in a major combat that is life altering for them, you can take their toenails and use that as a currency and proof that you're a badass. And then if you get, I don't remember, 100 coins or something, there are virtual. No. What? Draken, are you back?
Yeah, I am here.
You can trade 100.
No, I mean, if you've got like hundreds and hundreds of toenails, you can take them to a merchant's guild, and they'll sort of like take a ledger and incinerate them and then give you a toe coin.
So I got to talk a little bit about this because I need to unwrap that part of it. How is there a merchant's guild on Fight Planet? Are they there naturally? Did a bunch of fighters fight so goddamn much? Like, we need a system of currency to consolidate our gains and all the sweet loot we got from beating people's faces in. Or are they like from like the people who made Fight Planet and they're safe, and if you attack them, like the super laser turrets are going to come up and just incinerate you?
Right. I suspect
they people at all. Is it like, we talked about these vending machines essentially where you could get your bazookas or grenades. Can you use it like a Coinstar machine and just drop in a bag of toenails and it sits there and then plink.
Yeah, I guess maybe what I was. It's interesting that this is the one that caused a lot of interest. I guess what I was thinking is that, and to answer what Morta's question is, I think it's leaning towards a little more towards option 2. Fight Planet strikes me as a pretty lonely place if it's literally nothing but fighters, and I suspect whoever is running the show has some system. It has some kind of economy where people have to like buy things to stay alive, and you got to have a place to sell some guns, you got to have a place to sleep, you got to do something to eat. So I imagine that there is some kind of economy. Now, how exactly it isn't murder-related every single time, I'm not completely sure. But I just would think that Fight Planet has other things going on. The fighters are a major part of it, but they may not be the only part.
And that makes sense. I mean, part of this is trying to get a good feeling for the fighter's motivation, right? Why are they trying to collect rad dads? Toenails make more sense because you can kill more. And maybe it's the idea is that you're in Fight Planet, so you're going to fight because that's the motivation, is just to punch somebody's face in with your fist or with your face. But that's interesting. I really like that idea. So, yeah, have some evil, more evil ulterior motive than putting a bunch of people on a planet to fight to the death. But yeah, I really like that. I also like the sort of raw 1980s, early 90s sort of, this is the future. In 2007, all of humanity has decided to follow the most brutal of sports. I think it's perfect.
Okay, awesome.
I still want to get nuts in there somehow. Like, okay, and maybe this will come later. and in our non-zine version, but we should have like a modifier thing, like with 12 options, because you know it's a D12. When you roll your character, you get some sort of like weird rule, like you have like a mutation or something, or like your special, like maybe has something to do with how you got incarcerated. Maybe you got incarcerated for like the ultimate Grand Theft spaceship or something, and so you have the ability to like hotwire machines.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
And we could call that the nuts or inner nuts. You know,
That's right.
we're not here to be misogynistic. Everyone's got their own nuts.
We're just here to make a game called Fight Planet. Damn it!
I like that. I like that idea. I think definitely right. I did not complete the equipment section, but essentially that's like the bend rules section, and I think this idea of having a little like a quirk, right, in a sense, right, except
it's a quirk.
And a quirk.
Right. I don't want to get Steve Jackson after me.
Right, but you'd be having a perk, right, a little perk that just gives you this thing you can do that, you can decide by a D12 roll or something to that effect, which I think is pretty cool.
I think that would be fun to add, because I mean that the name, getting that out really quick, and then okay, now do your ability scores. Just like the faster that we make it, for each character,
the better. Yep. Because we got to keep in mind the byline. You have 1d12 minutes to live.
Right.
Unless you're the best of the best.
That's right. Yeah, it gets very dangerous very quickly on Fight Planet. So that's essentially the character generation. I think basically this was sort of designed. I mean, this was designed in a fit of me working until 3 a.m. because I just sort of got inspired to do it. So I started on combat first because it fit with the motif of Fight Planet, where you learn how to fight before you actually learn how the rules work. Right. And then also the thing I wanted to get into. So the idea with fighting is I divided it into bar fights and show matches. Bar fights being if you just need to do some fighting. Here's a really simple way to get some combat done and out of the way without rolling initiative and having big grand plans. If you just need to pound somebody into the ground, here's a way to do it. So it's just essentially it's a rock paper scissors game, and then if you win, you make a quick attack and deal some damage. And it can cause a loss of honor, cause a loss of health. Show matches, again, this is the idea with show matches is you have initiative that is rolled in groups, because the idea is that everybody acts together towards fighting. Just kind of by going in groups, you have, you don't have everybody sort of, I think one of the things with Dungeons and Dragons that can be a bit of a drawback is everybody has so many individual actions. Everybody sort of sits around while everybody kind of does their thing. Fight Planet, which is sort of a looser roguelike game, tries to dispose of that with the idea that, you got some big attacks, and by going in groups, you all get to talk together and act at the same time. Then the attack rolls, basically I address that. And then essentially the idea with armor, basically I created, I'm not saying this is the way it has to be, but I essentially wrote it with sort of this like base 10 system, but a really basic base 10 system. So if it's your kind of standard tough class or you're fighting a goon, it's a 10. Right, so if you roll bad, you're not going to hit. If you roll decent, you'll hit, and then the ability scores can make a difference. But then the next level is like a 20, which unless you're a high extreme character or you have the right equipment, you're not going to hit on your own. So people have to work together. is the idea behind that to and part of this, the idea is, which hasn't been developed yet, it's also to make the fight master's life easier, because in a sense the fight master will also be randomly generating enemies on the fly and NPCs on the fly when things when things need to happen.
Right.
Yeah. And then just some ideas, simple ideas about ranges. And then, coordinating attacks, which I provided some examples with. Oh, yes, and then really kind of one of the mechanics in this game is going balls.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and explain it. I'm curious as to the naming convention of that. Like, you took out nuts, and then you added going balls and balls deep.
Yes, yes, yeah. Okay, so essentially going balls is when you go the extra mile. There's a rule in PDQ, which this is sort of drawn from, which is the idea is that if you do something really cool, you get an extra reward. So basically going balls is you pull off a spectacularly risky attack that carries great risk of harm to yourself, but it's pretty cool. And essentially the idea is you get an advantage mechanic. So you get to roll two-sided dice and you get to keep the higher result. And especially in a team roll attack, this can be incredibly advantageous because it allows you to reach armor levels that are very high. And the game system rewards you. Like if you go, somebody has 20 armor, you'll deal 1 damage. But if you deal 40 points, which you can probably do when you've got like 4 people in a single team attack, you'll be dealing 3 points of damage, which is often maybe half the health of any given boss. So it can be very powerful. So it's really about going the extra mile, and then going balls can sometimes be automatically activated. If you knock down their honor to 0, you can just go balls automatically with just kind of your normal creative attacks. And then my balancing rule with the lanky fighters can do that as well. So yeah, that's the idea behind going balls. And then I just had a couple rules for crits and botches, of making things a little bit better. And then I had a going awesome mechanic, which is if you want to burn AP, that can be a powerful edge to an attack. And then I do need to discuss the honor system a little more. And I think it'll make more sense when I start giving you all of the examples. I've come up with about 20 things that can raise and lower your honor. And a lot of it is stolen from the Hackmaster player system. Not really stolen because I actually couldn't find it, but it's definitely inspired by that particular mechanic. The rewards, I think, as I noted in there, the rewards are a little. There's some design issues with that should probably be discussed with the R&D, the Rad Dads, the Awesome Points, and that sort of thing. But that's the overall view, and I have to go pick up my friend from the airport now. So I will leave this live stream running, and if I return, I will rejoin it.
Great. Thank you for giving us the rundown.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, feel free to tune in on your way to the airport so we can, have a view.
Yeah, because that's true, actually. I was going to make some comment about 2 are watching now, and then I realized the 2 watching now are me and you.
Yeah.
So I like it, but I feel like we need some more naming fun. For example, instead of botches, they should be crotches. I don't know what crotch should be.
Not shot.
Brilliant.
But these are like little tweaks. We'll get there. I think it's a really good system. I think it's coming together quite well. We're going to play test the crap out of it. Something I did want to talk about being the PM and QA for the Kickstarter. What is our release schedule? So we're going to definitely send out these zines.
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 Yeah.
Magazine. I like Zine too, though. Yeah, we'll do zines. So we're gonna send out these zines, and then that's gonna be like the end of it. Are we ever gonna just release the rules?
Um, okay, so basically, since right now from just the content that he sent, he's got 8,000 words and 26 pages of content. Um, so that we've got quite a bit there, and it would be, I mean, we could easily package it up together as like a PDF or some kind of a digital thing, or have it up online, so that people can see it. And I guess yes
Well, I
is
guess
the answer to your
that's
question.
my question is: do we want to release to the Kickstarting our folks first, and then have a delayed release publicly for free? Um, I was started thinking about the digital distribution of this. Like, do we believe in Fight Plan enough that it's worth having like a dedicated website and possibly tools I can make for it? Um, like, what's its digital distribution look like? And I imagine at some point we're probably going to want to release this for free, just in case there is somehow magically a group of people who really just want to go balls out and get their nuts and butts and fists and guts and all that going together. But I also don't want to. I like the idea of Kickstarter, Kickstarter supporters getting it first, but being upfront that eventually this is going to go to everyone because we're not asking for a lot, we're asking for curry.
Right.
So
Right. And so that's a good question. We will definitely have to figure that out. Because obviously to make the print run. Let's see, where am I? I lost my document. Yeah. So like to print 100 copies, it'd be around $350 for just the print costs, and then
right.
overhead Kickstarter fees. Making sure everything's sent out. So like that's like a $600 Kickstarter on its own. So we'd have to get that covered at the minimum for 100
Right.
printing, and then I don't know. It depends on how ambitious we are, I guess. Let's see. Did I lose my document? Yeah, there we are.
Right. So I think I see what you're saying in terms of the cost. Like I imagine we're only going to send out these zines to whoever is actually kickstarting, and after that it'd be a digital distribution. So I imagine we could get up that much up front if we're just being clear that if we limit our actual like supporter tiers.
Okay, like you. I mean, I think that it would make sense to, once we do all this work and get it into like some kind of a full document, it would be fine, I think, to have it as a complete thing with a download for like $1 or $2 or something like that, and then have some tools that support it, like a character creation page, or just spits out a dude or something like that pretty quickly. And that definitely does not have to be any sort of a paid thing, but I don't know, mostly to cover costs, I think, for a download. But I mean, obviously nobody's going to get rich or anything silly like that.
No, and that's, I guess, what I'm looking at. Like, at some point, we probably want to just let this game system live in the wild. And that's not just me and your decision to make. Obviously, the one who put in all the work is currently on the way to the airport, and they probably should have a pretty big say in their work being distributed like this. But it's just something I was thinking about. Like, at some point, there's going to be, there's the very small but non-zero chance that this ends up being a cult classic, and then we'll want that out there.
Right.
And if it for some reason does take off, well then, there's the chance to actually make this into a full-fledged like RPG, which would floor me.
Yeah. Maybe we could even just do is have like a page to get the rules and the content, and either set it as like a pay what you want, or set it as like a give us your email address and then take it or whatever. And then
Yeah.
when we do, you know, Fight Planet 2 or whatever stupid thing, the full book, then we would have people to say, hey, here's a thing if you want.
And I'm totally up for that. And I'd say, you know, obviously we want to, we're going to play test it, we're going to do all that, and the Kickstarter supporters should get it first and for some time. So if we do
Definitely.
like the eventual digital distribution, I mean, that let's give it a few months at least. Like let's at least make it worthwhile to anybody who does support us.
Right.
And once more than just, you know, like a nicely staple bound piece of paper, or, you know, 26 pieces of paper or whatever. And what we have right now with Draken, we still gotta play test, and we've gotta make minor modifications here and there. For example, crotches. The only problem is I need to think of what's a good one for crits. Like, that's something we could probably do right now that would be super helpful. So something in crotches, not crit and botches.
Yeah. Boom, headshot. I don't know. That is a good question. Okay. So sorry, I'm just
Rocks and crotches. Nah, it's not gonna work.
rocks and
Rocking and crotching. Well, so what else we got on our
yeah. I'm glad
menu for today, because my ideations aren't doing us any good work.
Okay, so release schedule involves the playtest, the rules. It involves finalizing content. It involves layout. It involves printing. It
also involves the art, because we're going to need some more art than just the front page.
Right. So here's basically from our conversation last week. Here's what I sent to the artist. Here are the first and most important of 3 ridiculous requests for Fight Planet. Can we please have from you 1 zine cover image? 2 burly dudes punching each other out on Mars or a post-apocalyptic wasteland with a death fog. It should focus on the dudes knocking each other's teeth out. Mountains of rubble. In the background there should be a skater with a mohawk firing a laser gun or something rad. New quote, explosions. Gory, but not so much that they don't actually let us promote it. So, and then I got a response.
Sounds very good.
And then I said, and I want it by Saturday. So I got a response that said, you got it.
Holy crap. I'll donate my curry to this artist.
So.
Wow, that is outstanding. And I don't know who this artist is. And obviously we shouldn't be putting it out there on live stream, aside from their name. But that is outstanding. Whoever this artist is, even if the art is terrible, I think we owe them a bit of work, since they went through all of that. And the good news is we should have everything up on for the Kickstarter to run. Any sense on how long we're going to actually run the? Is that determined? I'm a good PM, so I did absolutely no checking of the actual Kickstarter guidelines or rules for this.
Okay. So
details
with the Kickstarter. Let's see. Where did my document? Here's my document. The Kickstarter. I guess we got basically since what's his name, Dragon Boy, did like a ton of work. It seems like it's much more substantial than like a total joke. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, I agree. We actually have a rule set to play with.
So it's
and we should totally live stream it, since it's there.
It seems, yeah, it's live stream us playing the game, you mean, or live stream?
Yeah, play testing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I'm all for the backers at, maybe at some level or something is a playtest level, and we send them out the draft rules at whatever point, and they can send us feedback and
I'd be fine for every backer getting that if they donate more than like $1 or something. Playtest our rules. Like that might not be enough to get a zine, but definitely more than enough to let us know if our rules suck.
Pay us $1.
I doubt they
tell
do.
Us we're losers.
Draken's awesome. Hey, I'd pay $1 for that.
Sweet. Well, I'm looking for you to be the first one to back the project so that we can, hit the goal.
Hey, once it's up, I'll start backing.
Perfect. If you could back, $5 every 10 minutes until
the goal's met.
Let's see, playtesters. So I guess kind of what I'm thinking is I don't know if the goal of launching by the end of this month to meet some arbitrary Kickstarter like project, I don't know if we would be baked enough to have it good to go on Thursday to get whatever traffic boost from them, as opposed to
Does it have to be done for the traffic boost? I thought the Kickstarter just had to make promises by the traffic boost.
It has to make promises and go live. But
why can't we do that?
Because our promises have to be like crafted well. They have to.
That's true, but I mean, we basically have the main promise already. We got a kick-ass like area. We're doing roguelike tabletop pen and paper with a good theme. We have the rules together already. Like in terms of like what you're looking for a Kickstarter campaign, rule 1 is, are they ever going to release? Well, we're going to release something, even if it's crap. Like, it's done.
We're already past crap.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, so we have to figure out all of the reward tiers, all of the schedule, and I don't know. It seems like a lot. I'm not saying that we can't do it. I'm just saying
it's kind of like crass for us to say right after Draken sat down and wrote the entire damn thing for us.
Okay, now we need
in 1 week.
Write a Kickstarter page for us. And write a Q&A and write the risks and rewards and
the only risk I can see is that they won't like the game.
Which, I mean, if you back a game called Kickstarter, what did I call it? The Kickstarter, if you back a game called Kickstarter. If you back a game
I got an idea.
Called FIGHTPLANET.
So, second RPG we make is the Kickstarter RPG.
The Kickstarter RPG? Wow, that sounds like a failed Kickstarter project.
Oh, yeah. It will be amazing. So, it'll all be self-referential on Kickstarter. And so the whole point is you and your squad of whatever are trying to make themselves a successful Kickstarter, and then they get to avoid all the pitfalls. And I guess success is going to be hard to define because, there's plenty of Kickstarters that got funded that weren't successful, and plenty that got funded didn't produce anything and probably were successful, at least to the people trying to make it.
Yeah, there's be a lot of interesting win conditions.
Anyways, that's a really stupid idea. We'll come back to it later.
Yeah, once we've got some Kickstarter experience and can make better Kickstarter jokes.
That's right. But first up, FIGHTPLANET.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I actually really like this. I feel like it isn't crap. And seeing the rule set, yeah, it's got to be play tested. And some of the tools are going to make work for like character generation, but I was also going to make some automatic like distribution tools, so you could actually see what like the distribution and chances of doing X, Y, and Z are. Because one thing I think that'd make this game really good, and we have the skill set for, at least in our group, is to actually make that like razor fine distribution that as you're playing the game allows for things to go wrong and having to deal with a shitty situation, but also things to go so right and like really make that, oh my god, we did cool shit experience. It's kind of like D&D does this naturally. It has a very specific distribution on the way that you roll dice. The D20 system is great for this. And that it has enough variation that you will sometimes pull something out of your ass and just make a fantastic play, and you'll remember it. And sometimes things will botch really badly. But for the most of the time, there's this very, like, even with a D20, steady state where you got a pretty good sense of what you can and cannot do. And the more dice you add, sort of the less variance you get. But I feel like a game like this needs a lot of variance. You want things to like go south quick, or like make it so you kick ass quick. And the cost of failure in this is nothing near the cost of failure in like a game like D&D, where a character you had for 20 play sessions and has become super big hero dies. No. In this one, oh crap, just got out of the launch pad doors, about to go punch somebody, and another drop pod falls on my head. Fuck. Roll again.
Yeah.
And so I feel like having more variation in what can happen will make this a lot more interesting. Not so much that it's just, random, that you're just, as much as I hate to say on like a tabletop game, because I think they don't do this, but you're just rolling die and seeing who has the bigger number. Something where you can still have strategy and sort of the tabletop fun in it, but obviously that doesn't take itself so seriously that it's going to be the same old thing each time, and that eventually people are going to be like munchkining the system or what have you.
Right.
But,
and I kind of think that since you mentioned the variance level or so, and the disposability of the characters in Fight Planet, if there's a TPK, it wouldn't really be a big deal. Somebody else would just be like, all right, my turn to be Fight Master, and then just move on and play like the next, not a campaign, but the next session led by somebody else with some other robot or something.
I am interested in like the world being built around this, especially by the player base and the different fight masters, because it's a pretty blank slate, kind of like D&D was way back in the day, before Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, Ravenloft, all this sort of built on top of it. So like I imagine there are going to be like cities and like cluster fights and big bosses of certain places that are just truly evil, that people are going to come up with, and I feel like that sort of thing could transcend like fight masters or any individual set of play sessions. And I can even see something like, we're going to run this game, characters are going to die left and right, but there's still a story being made.
But the world is somewhat persistent, and I like that. And then if you're a fight master and you'd make something cool, you can send it in to, I don't know, us or whatever, and then
we'd happily
another zine that's like interesting places on Fight Planet. The zine. I
could just see, like, in some campaign, finally, this one character, just sort of badass, beats 4 or 5 bosses, ends up grabbing a nuke, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing with it, and ends up blowing up, like, a big section of a city, including himself. That is now a permanent, like, radiation exclusion zone only the mutants go into. Like, those are the sorts of things I could see really coming out of Fight Planet. And that's persistent, that's story building. It gives you that same joy you get out of playing a good D&D campaign. The difference here is we have to really, like, remove the focus from the actual player character as the focus of the story, like it so much is in role-playing games, and push that focus straight to the world around it. As much as I hate to say it, even to, like, the villains of the world around it. This is sort of, like, when you look at DC versus Marvel and the movies they've made, one thing that Marvel has always done very well is a great development of characters, especially the main characters or the protagonists. They've done sort of here and there on the antagonists, and DC just hasn't been able to really catch that, at least not without going to, like the Dark Knight series. There are a couple smash successes and the steaming pile of crap. It's a similar thing here, except for in all role playing, right? Think about your favorite campaigns. Think about the campaigns we're running now, like mine with Ludwig the Paladin, who's this straight-laced asshole nobody likes. Like, I love the character development and the story of him. Like, he took on a house. He lights stuff on fire all the time. But that's not something you're going to get in Fight Planet with a single character, because that character is going to fucking die in a horrible way, and it won't be that long until it happens.
Fight the house, and the house is going to win.
Exactly. And so you got to really push that, like, that construction, that story onto the world around you. And so I'm thinking like maybe like you develop this really nasty antagonist that these fighters keep running into their goons, and like there's some reason like they're taking over an area, and it's going to be like very like pleasant, like that building of like their 50th or 60th character group finally gets to the dude and kills him, and then they all die horribly.
Right.
And you start over again, but now you have that character dead, and there's some other threat. Like it's really going to have to go, like it's really going to have to put the story into the world, and that's way too much for a zine. But I think that's the way this becomes like a successful role-playing game that people want to play. Other than, just like, my God, this is the craziest crap ever. Let's give this a run for a night sort of role-playing game, which
Right.
it's already there. Like I would be like, okay, I've just stumbled across this crazy fucking thing. Let's go run it for a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Like, it's got balls. It's got character. Let's just say, like, right now, in its very sense, it's got character, especially with the toenails being the currency and the way that it doesn't make sense. It is toxic masculinity defined. Like,
Right.
this is definitely worth a run, but it's not. Without a nice cohesive world, eventually, I don't think this will ever be like something a group would sit down and play over and over and over again.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that does make a lot of sense. If you can send in your locations, you can send in events at those locations, and like mini stories or vignettes or whatever, and then it is compiled into some larger, more interesting thing, and any city or any weird shit that you can think of for Fight Planet, okay, it's there, it's on the planet, consider it done. And then we filter out some of the best stuff that people send in and load it. That could be a lot of fun, or it could be a lot of tedious work. I don't know, but it could be fun.
It'll be fun till we drop it and stop doing it.
Right, and then piss off all of our fans.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
But that is pretty cool. I don't know. I think there's gonna be a lot that can come out of this. There's definitely gonna need to be some marketing done, and the Kickstarter page is definitely gonna be part of that. It's fine if we don't get the promotion from this. I think if we organically promote it in the sense that, we find some YouTube star and pay him a lot of money to play it on YouTube, we'd be just fine. Organic like that. Facebook ads, yeah. Oh wow, I wonder if there are RPG Facebook ads, and I'd feel really sorry for literally everyone involved. Anyways,
There are RPG Facebook ads. They've just started targeting me with them, but what I've seen is like those, what do you call them, dice towers, and like custom like DM screens, and like little dice rolling pools, like that type of stuff. I've seen ads for, but and like dice bags or some silly thing like that.
Oh, there were quite a few interesting and successful Kickstarter projects about specialty made dice. Not going to say it for this, but at some point it would be hilarious to have like a Fight Planet D12 made. I don't know quite what it would look like yet. Like, I know we say balls, but I don't think that would actually be a very pleasant aesthetic.
Right.
But like maybe teeth or something, or
teeth, or like a skull, or like a fist or something.
Yeah.
Or a
This
ball.
would make sense for Fight Planet. But okay, that's great. Well, I'm glad the artist is willing to push up with that sort of timeline. Like I said, like, they can have my curry. What's the story on the printer update?
Okay, so I mean, basically, I'll pull it up so you'll see it on the live stream. I just looked at a couple different printing places online. Actually, one's called Print Place, and then Overnight Prints is the other one. And there were a couple others, but they priced out as a higher amount. I did an assumption of 100 copies with 24 pages. One of them being the cover page, and typically it was coming out to 350, 360 for that 100. You do get pretty good economies of scale if you go up into the 1,000 range or so. It's like once you do 1,000, the next 1,000 is free essentially.
Yeah.
Not quite, but so we definitely have to figure out how many of these stupid things, you know, do I want in my basement.
I was gonna say, if we would have 1,000 people wanting this, I'm all in. Like, fine, we'll fund that. We'll get it out there for them, and we'll do, you know, the Kickstarter funding. But I'd be willing to kick in for that too. But
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna get to that amount off of this this project. I think we're gonna need to let this one go in the wild, or we're gonna have to get heavy with our advertising. Like, at that point, we are like gonna start soliciting YouTube stars.
Right. Like, hey, FIGHTPLANET. I mean, that's not such a bad idea to, like, send out, like, I don't know, 20 zines or so to, like, various YouTube people
Yeah.
who do such things. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that was basically it for the printer update. There are some considerations for like paperweight and how the corners are punched and like that kind of stuff, and the layout for the actual printing work. All of that is more stuff to be figured out. I'm probably even going to go into a couple of the local printer shops and talk to them about paper and, you know, paperweights and glossiness, and see, you know, if their prices can be somewhere close to, you know, crazy internet printing.
Good luck on that. Almost never, but
Yeah.
it's possible. It's just, yeah, I not to belittle local printers. They are wonderful, and I've dealt with them a lot in my at least earlier parts of my life. But it's hard to fight the economy of scale of having an internet print shop.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
But-
so we did a you know, event a couple of years ago that needed custom sized booklets. They were full color. They were nice paper, and I think we got 100 of them, and it cost us somewhere around almost $300. Not quite 300, I think. Which was
That's
pretty
impressive.
Yeah, it was a pretty good deal. I mean, I think it was part of it was okay. It's this nonprofit thing that we were running, so I think they cut us a decent deal on that. So I'm not totally.
Can we set this up as a nonprofit? See if we can get ourselves a deal.
Hi. We're not for profit, just curry.
Those
So,
are operating costs, thank you.
yeah. I mean, you can't just crank out 28 pages of Fight Planet without, you know, some curry substance.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how Draken did that. That is quite amazing. And it was well done. I think it really captured the spirit of Fight Planet. I'm looking forward to where this goes. This is pretty neat. Like, for a, no offense, stupid high school idea, this is shaping up to be pretty awesome.
Ah, man. It is, well, we came up with this idea in college.
Oh, college. Sorry. That yes, it does have that maturity to it. Sorry, definitely. Because I look at this and I think, oh yeah, that's maturity is what really kind of put this together.
That's what really, you know, it's like the formative years that really sink things into your brain. See.
That's true. And look how well they've served us. Cool.
Yeah.
Then I think that's a pretty good update on the tabletop roguelike RPG. That is, yeah, I'll totally donate my curry for that. The artist is amazing. They should get Mossman curry because that's better for them, but they can have whatever sort of horrible curry they've chosen. Whatever their bad life choices led them to think was good.
Spicy curry with chickpeas.
Well, that's actually not that bad.
So,
Yeah. Well, less bad choices. Much better than whatever Draken got.
yellow with chicken and rice.
Wow. I don't know how much like that is pretty bland. That's that's the Midwest curry right there.
Pretty much, yeah. Where salt is a spice, or salt is spicy.
Exactly.
That's what he got.
Gonna crack some pepper in there, but you got to watch out.
All right.
All right. Well, that's great. So do we have anything else we want to talk about, or should I go back to try to figure out what we should call crits instead of crits?
I think they're going. Oh, go ahead.
I had one good idea. What if we took nuts and made nuts the equipment, like nuts and bolts? So it's like a double entendre almost.
Oh, that's a good. And then you can put all your nuts in your nut sack.
Oh yes. Oh, this is good. All right. This is how games get made. All right. So equipment will be our nuts, and they will go in the nut sack.
We don't have to explicitly say nut sack. We can let players.
Well, we do have to mention like have it in their sack. So make sure to like store your nuts in their sack or something.
Make sure all the.
Make sure you got a place for all your nuts. There are all sorts of sacks on the ground you could go take.
Okay. So.
Well, we'll get it there. We'll make that unofficial, but it will definitely be what every hopefully player eventually comes to and refers to it in the middle of the game. Even better if it's like against the Fight Master's wishes.
That would be ideal. Okay.
Okay, so I had that brilliant thought when, because I'm really focused on this for completely immature reasons. When we're like trying to figure out where to put nuts at, that was one that came to mind, and I think that's where nuts belong.
I think, yeah, I agree. That is good. Let's see. So I guess, I mean, otherwise, I think figuring out what sort of Kickstarter tiers there would be and, like, you know, what perks or whatever would be available for each one of them.
So it's $350 roughly for 100 zines, right?
Yeah.
So about $3.50 per zine.
Right.
So to get a zine, what should we say, like $7 to make up for all of the curry and Kickstarter fees and overhead?
I think that makes sense.
So like a $7 tier to get a zine. I guess we should probably do some opposition research. But you know, all right, give me a second. I'm going to go to Kickstarter really quick and look up some role-playing zines and see what they're charging.
Oh, that's a good call. And I mean,
it's called comping.
I don't know how much. If you buy one zine that sets you back $7, that probably doesn't prevent you from buying a second zine that costs $7. But yeah, we should look at what because there's 1,000 zines right now, or you know, at least 5 zines right now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of these that are out there right now, and by the looks of it, wow, there's people wanting thousands of dollars. That's crazy. Yeah, they usually start really to get like the hard copy. They start really charging you pretty high prices. I'm looking at like $13, $30 for one of these.
Okay.
So,
I'm back.
Hey,
welcome back. We could put our PDFs on Drive Through RPG.
I think that's a good call. Hey, Draken, we've got 2 thoughts that we need to run by you.
Okay.
Came up while you were out.
All right.
The first one is, can we call your equipment? Can that be nuts?
I guess here's the thing with using nuts.
Like
not
nuts
that
and
only
bolts, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm liking that. I guess the general idea with nuts or whatever is essentially, if a writer from Jezebel called me to talk about this, could I defend myself with a straight face?
Isn't the whole point of this not to have a straight face? Like, isn't there something called parody?
Oh, yes. There's parody, right? But doing parody right.
I don't think anyone quite does parody right, unless they're Weird Al Yankovic.
Nuts and Bolts sounds pretty great, actually.
Perfect.
Cool. And then what was the second thing we needed to run by Draken?
Okay, so the second thing was, basically it was going to be a Kickstarter, or there was going to be a zine, you get the zine, whatever, and end of story.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we've got over 8,000 words of content, 26 pages, not including, all of the art and the forthcoming rules for whatever.
Ooh, is the art available?
Oh, you missed the art update. No, come back tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you do have it, though, because I am going to listen to the part that I missed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, we will get a rough draft of the cover art tomorrow, hopefully.
Oh, great.
Crossed.
Yeah, we've got the best artists in the world. I don't even care if the art's crap. The fact they're willing to pull this out in this short of a timeline.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Okay, so anyway, the other thing to run past you is, after this thing is created, what do we do next, and what is our digital distribution? Do people, can they download it? Do they pay what they want? Do they pay a fixed amount? Do they just have it?
Interesting. I guess the first thing is to try to get the zine and some curry, right?
Right.
That's really the first goal, right?
But I feel like this is so good that we don't want it to disappear into the nether. We should have some contingency plan if everything goes south.
All right. Well, what I would suggest,
south or awesome?
Goes right down to the planet. Draw a pod.
Drop it. I would suggest that there be, just in terms, obviously, we got the zine first, which will become, of course, an instant collector's item worth thousands of dollars in the future. But I would suggest that there be a PDF with free rules that anybody can grab. But if they want, the equipment content and some of the more detailed stuff, then they gotta pay. That just sort of comes to mind a little bit.
Okay, so basically what Wizards of the Coast did with their core rules for D&D.
Yeah, I guess it would just sort of, I would say getting the basic rules out there so people know what it is. I think that would be important, because they kind of got to. I would kind of, if I was a consumer or whatever of a new role-playing system, I'd kind of want to have an idea what I'm getting into.
I'm worried that we're going to make a cult classic and the rules are going to disappear or be distributed in a way we don't want them to be. So that's why I was wanting to go ahead. Even something like you kickstart, you get to have the PDF, you get to have the zine if you kickstart enough for the zine. And then after 6 months to a year, we'll just release an electronic version free. But I'm fine with just a few.
I see what you mean. Yeah. With keeping it a little. I honestly have no idea. So.
Well, you're the one who actually made all the content, so I think you can set some of the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we actually, what don't we?
The one thing that would come in mind, being the content writer, is the equipment section is going to be a shitload of work. So that would be maybe not the free rule section or part, or only a very small sliver of it. But I think, and then there's the honor system, which as I told you, I've got about 20 things. I could probably come up with another 20 examples of it, which I can pull up on my phone right now. That might, I don't know about that thing, but basically sharing, character generation and how ability scores work and stats.
Right.
I think that is okay to share because it gets the brain juices flowing and people interested in, oh, this is a sort of system that's a little different in that you have characters that can come and go very quickly. So this is a system where you can be a little more comfortable with character death than you maybe are in other systems. And it's
you gotta downright like get used to character death.
Yeah, because and I hope the rules express that, right? You have very low health generation opportunities. You have very high fighting opportunities and a pretty high lethality rate. So you better get used to it.
And yeah, sorry, go on. I want to say, like, I feel like we should probably put out something out there for the Fight Masters, even if it's like free or not. Something I'd be happy to write about how to appropriately set the world, because character development is not going to be the main drive to this game. Anyways, go on.
Right. No, absolutely. Right. Yeah. Oh, the one other thing. So it would be getting the basic rules out so they know, oh, this is really simple character generation. We're going to get more used to character death. And then the idea of, oh, this is a thing where we fight together to beat big bosses, which I think could be interesting to people who normally play Dungeons and Dragons, who want to have a little bit of a change of pace, where people have to work together to do big attacks. I definitely believe there should be, and I have some ideas. I just sort of got tired, so I had to take a break. We had a live stream deadline, but I did have some ideas for. I think suggestions from you, Morta, would be really good for, Fight Masters. What to expect in this world would be really good. And then some other ideas for Fight Masters Corner was just an idea of how you generate monsters in Fight Planet. And just some of the rules you think about, because you need to have, and this is why with monsters, where one of the mechanical decisions I made, and of course, play testing suggestions completely open to revising, but I decided to make armor one of the main mechanics, because if you just gave them a gut score of 12, the fight would just go on forever, right? The idea is have the armor values, depending on how serious of a boss it is, at the level it's at, and so the battles have to be big and dramatic and intense, but at the same time, the ability scores are not so way out of proportion where you can still feint them, you can still trick them, you can still make little attacks to change positioning or gain combat advantages, and their health isn't unlimited. It's not nothing, but it's also not unlimited. So and I have some ideas for how one can do that when you're generating monsters while still doing it pretty quickly.
So I have two things that I want to throw in there. One that were already in previously live stream that you probably missed. The first one is, I think we should have as high variance as possible in the gameplay, something you wouldn't want in a D&D or any others, because you want things to go really well or really far south, and it's okay if they do so. I think your system is a good way there. I think the nuts and bolts will probably be sort of like an interesting place to really add to that.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, right? You're on Fight Planet. Yeah, you're a big, strong dude who's, gotten sent to jail for some horrible crime.
Right.
But that dude's got a laser. So
yeah.
The second thing is we want to find a good word for crits, because we've got botches should be crotches.
Botches are crotches. Sold.
but we need something good for crits that goes along with that. So if you have any ideas, I haven't I haven't a single one thus far. And then we did a little opposition research on different levels. It looks like $10 for a zine is what a lot of people are going with. We could lower that to $7.
Yeah, wow.
They have for the electronic versions, they have a lot lower tiers. Some go up to like 30.
Crazy. I think we can definitely do a price point lower than $10.
We can probably get to 7 with our overhead without much problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I don't know if I'd pay $10.
I'd pay $10 for this, but not for any of them.
I really got to see this cover art because it's really this cover art, man.
Cover art's
what's going to sell us.
Cover art against the bars, dusty red. Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely has a chance to make us. Even if it's terrible, it still has a chance to make us, depending on how campy we're going to push it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, as long as it's got a 1970s feel or like 80s sci-fi, we're probably good.
Oh, but definitely.
We'll see what our artist pulls up tomorrow. I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be good. And you may have uncovered this already, but there's a deadline coming up rather fast, right?
Yeah, and so we did have a couple bits of discussion on it. But so basically, if we want the boost from Kickstarter for their zine month, their game zine month challenge thing, we would have to launch by this upcoming Thursday, which is
okay.
It's possible. There's concerns, I guess.
Keep your straight face. Keep your straight face when you're talking to the person who wrote the entire game.
They're mostly your concerns, right, Todd? Because you are Kickstarter manager, runner, organizer.
I guess, yes. I guess they would be my concerns.
We're role-playing this Sunday. When you're not fighting, go and start typing.
That's right. Because, I guess one thing that, the rules, if anything, are in need of editing. So, there'll have to be some decisions on that front. And there's also, but at least it's hopefully more of a cutting process than an adding process.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's tonally right.
Good.
So from there, I will take my crack at it. I'm a crappy editor, but I'm better than no editor. So,
hooray!
So we'll don't put questions around crotches. It's totally crotches.
Is it crotches?
It's totally crotches.
Crotches.
To crotches and crits to.
Right. Now, if we were doing, if for crits, if we were not, having a larger awareness of male masculine toxic masculine.
It would totally be the one that rhymes with it.
So we've already okay.
We haven't explicitly said it or talked about
the word, but we all are okay.
But it's like our equipment in the nutsack. Nobody has said it, but we know it.
Okay.
Oh, we've said it, but then we said we're not putting it in the rules.
We're not putting that one in.
We're not going to have a nutsack in the rules. We're just going to have lots of sacks for carrying stuff, and we might refer to it as the sack.
Yeah, put your stuff in the sack.
But we'll never say nutsack. It'll be fine.
Okay. All right, so we do have to come up with a good one for crits that is not the obvious one. Right. Okay. Good. Okay. And then I'll definitely listen to the live stream portion that I missed. So.
Okay.
I'll be in the know on that. So.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. Why can't we go with it? Like 1950s style. That's just the great. And like straight face in the middle of this like gruely, like horrible thing. Just have that jarring juxtaposition of talking about how swell it is, and totally blank that you got this role.
Oh man, and it's so catchy.
Crits and tits. Yeah.
Oh, now you said it.
Yeah, that's out there.
Oh,
Now it's
whoops.
out there. At least Dungeon Boy Burnham said it first before Draken.
I don't know. I think if we're gonna do this, we might need to go all in. It's got to be.
Are you
Tits
talking
and
about
crotches.
going balls?
Yeah, we're gonna go balls. It's got to be tits and crotches. It's the tits if you get that sweet roll.
If you get the
Otherwise,
sweet
you got
roll.
crotch.
You got tits.
But if we
Well-
call it tits, then the kids can't play it at school.
Is any kid gonna play this in school?
Maybe, right? It's something to be aware of. And, female players and all the things like this. Just
I'm assuming female players. I'm assuming female players probably won't have a problem with the horror toxic masculinity because it is a parody.
it is a parody, that is true.
And we can definitely put things in to make that feel better, talking about the inner balls and all that. We run it by some actual female playtesters.
I almost think I wonder
their
if
feedback.
tits, maybe there is a word we pick, but maybe tits becomes the underground. The ones in the know.
That is basically
ones-
exactly what we were saying for nutsack.
Oh,
That's true. Yep, we're doing the same thing. We're gonna heavily imply it, but in the underground, it's gonna be nutsack.
right.
And
Nice.
it'll never be part of the rules. But if anyone watches us play test or live stream,
right, playtest.
we
or
might
this
slip
one.
and say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm
So,
falling for that.
But we've probably got to find a better word than tits for crits.
We probably
man,
do.
that's really hard.
But we do have that as the underground term. So
Yeah.
excellent.
Okay, so
I'll work on it.
Perfect.
I'll ideate.
Okay, here. Let's make that official. Morta. We'll think about
What to
tits.
ideate.
All right.
Yeah. Perfect. And make sure it's on there. I will totally focus my next goals thinking about nothing but tits and the correct thing to call it.
I don't think this really works, but
I'm glad it's going on YouTube. I'm never becoming president.
Not that, but now I have some ideas, but they're they sound stupid if I'm going to say them on the live stream.
Perfect. What do you got?
Yeah, we're doing a great job here.
Thank you. I've got like pecs, but that doesn't really work. So, but pecs for crits, right? Or flex. What do you call it? You're flexing your muscles. Like
Flexing.
Well, I mean,
Flex.
there's got to be a point where you flex so hard that, your shirt rips.
Right.
Or, I don't know.
Hulking.
Hulk
shirt
out.
rips. Hulk out. Oh, that's not a bad one. Get big. Hulk
Get
out.
swole.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness.
Get full.
I don't know how that one's going to turn into tits, but it'll be amazing. Get swell. I don't know.
Bulges. No, we got crotches. Bulging out. Tits. Yeah. It's gonna be really tough to top tits. But
All
anyway,
right, we'll get it. I'll figure it out.
all right.
I will do some hardcore research.
Please do. That'd be great.
I'm gonna train an RNN. We're gonna seek this thing. We're gonna get the AI to discern it for us. Oh my goodness! Why don't we do an AI written zine?
That sounds good. Let's make that our second one. That could be a
Yeah.
stretch goal.
Stretch goal. I will generate the worst role playing zine ever.
Well, apparently we need to make a second stretch goal of nice equipment for live streaming our test games.
That's true.
Really? Like the contributors would come up with the equipment that we'd have to use in playtesting?
Yeah, we would buy you a microphone that is nice and some headphones that are nice, and we would buy one for
Morta, some that's
Yeah.
just absolutely not terrible. Yeah, probably a
everybody.
good idea.
Get something so that we can have decent sounding audio. in future webcasts and
I see.
our playtesting streams, of course.
Oh, of course. Very deep.
And I would like a pony that is made of rainbows.
Pony. Okay. How much is a rainbow pony, anyways? Probably
Oh.
like 12 grand.
Yeah, probably 12 grand. Depends on how much spray paint costs and,
Okay.
laws that look the other way.
Now, I suspect you probably covered this already, but if you could give me the Cliff Notes version, what has to be done by the end of the month, and have I already been assigned something?
Okay.
Yeah, you've been assigned something where you're supposed to come up with some of the simple rules, and instead you just came up with the rules. So I think you're probably good.
Sweet. Excellent.
Okay, so to get the pony, our Kickstarter needs to raise $21,759.76. Assuming you're okay with a $12,000 pony.
I could probably deal with the $12,000 pony. I can make it rainbow myself.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so Draken, for to-dos, I've got you down for more writing.
Okay.
As for the actual Kickstarter, I don't know. I guess I need to freak out about a bunch of things like reward tiers and writing.
Do you want help with that? We can do that right now.
Yes.
All right, let's just knock this out of the park. All right, $1 or more, you will get a PDF. Congratulations.
If you contribute $1.
Is $1?
Yeah, you contribute at least $1 PDF.
The
We're
PDF
gonna charge like $7 for the zine, so I'm not feeling too bad about that.
are the zines and the zine and the PDF is different?
Well, the zine's in actual paper.
The zine we print
Oh,
and we
yeah.
give to you.
Okay, got it.
$7, you get the zine, and you get early playtest rules.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
How much is your signature worth, Draken?
My signature would maybe be worth $3 or $2.99.
Okay, so because I don't want to do that sort of math, there are what, 5 of us? So if it's $3 a shot, that'd be 15 plus. So if you take 7 plus 15, or I guess $22, we will give you a signed copy.
Yeah, and then remember, of course, we have to keep in mind it would be a 3-state shipping process.
That's a good point. Good
Right.
job, you put that extra money on there. Well, we didn't say when they'd get it, just that they'd get it.
That's right. Media mail.
Right. Yeah, that would be a process. And then, of course, our artist is in a different state, and Dr. Butts is in a different state
That's right.
as well.
We
So
can
I
electronically sign it.
Yeah, we can e-sign it. Yeah, we totally can.
And
All right.
then we have to make a separate print run at a separate cost.
Do we?
Yes.
I mean, we'd have to like print off different color or covers or whatever. It would be a huge pain in the ass to do that.
You mean for a signing thing?
Can't you just practice our signatures?
I suppose, yeah.
You've probably been doing it anyways.
Sounds like the way to
we
go.
could buy a stamp and say hand signed with love stamp that just has everybody's signature on it. All right.
I love it. Okay, yes. Wonderful.
Let me put signed in quotes.
Well, okay. sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one's gonna want our signature, but why not? Let's put like $100. They get to join us for a live stream.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Okay.
Also risky, but if they're dropping $100,
So Spiel Nights gets kicked off of YouTube. We've probably come out with more than we ever would have gotten normally. If they fund the whole thing, they can play test with us.
Okay.
awesome.
Okay, sorry, I was thinking about the game night pack where you get 5 copies for your entire team. But
That's a good idea.
what is the
$100, you get to join us for a Fight Planet live stream.
Okay. I like that because if people do that,
we get another viewer.
you get $100 and a viewer.
If they fund the whole thing, they can join us and playtest.
Perfect. Yep. Okay, and then if you
provide they buy their own curry.
That's true. You would have to buy your own curry. Okay, so we're saying that how much is our Kickstarter goal?
Actually going to be probably that $6.99, so $700.
All right. Are you allowed to make it weird numbers like $6.99 and 76 cents?
Sure, I don't think it's probably very useful actually achieving that goal.
Right.
There's actually Kaggle has a Kickstarter data set we could look at.
Okay, I'm putting that on your to-do.
Oh, awesome.
Insights.
I guess I better go download that now.
Okay, am I missing any tiers?
Sounds like a lot of tiers for a zine.
How many?
Yeah, I think that's more than most.
Okay.
Oh, we could definitely give tiers where they get to add something, like a piece of equipment or.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, adding equipment, which will reduce the labor cost of adding.
Yeah, it's when you let them design it for you, just like when you let them design characters. Now, granted, it probably will lower the quality because we're going to get someone willing to drop $200 to name a piece of equipment. Probably
is it going to lower the quality in Fight Planet?
You're talking about something someone is willing to drop $200 for to get into a game somewhere. It's gonna be something like Billy Bob's Massive Schlong. Like
that
it's
is
not gonna be
in the game anyways.
Name a main enemy or something too that will show up in the zine. Could be something we could do.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, if you're willing to drop $200, I'm game.
Name a thing, and then you got to put in like within.
Yeah, subject to
tits. We've got to put some rules apparently exist. I don't know where they're at yet, but nebulously they're there. Oh my god, it's gonna be tits and crotches. I hope you guys know that. You should just make peace with it. I'm starting to convince myself that if we don't do that, we are selling out the game, and it won't be as successful.
I guess what question will tits and crotches make sense if you don't know about crits and botches?
I think everybody knows about critches and botches, and I think it will still make sense on its own because you don't want to get crotches, and hey, that's tits.
That's tits.
If we say like that's tits and have like an exclamation point every single time we say tits.
Oh man, I don't think that makes it better.
Oh, that's the point.
Man.
We keep affirmative consent outside of the fighting, and we can be woke about this, Draken, but I have a feeling to get the feel of this.
Yeah. You're getting me there. You're getting me. As long as we're still woke when we're talking. And tits are good. Although, boy, you know what? We'll run it by a couple of other non-males.
That's probably a good idea.
Okay.
So, I happen to know quite a few people of the women persuasion, including my wife. Yes, she happens to also be female.
Well, yes, and
this
knows our world a little bit, so.
Yeah, I meant other female role players too, but yeah, I'll start doing some what do we call that? Some research of some type. It's not opposition research, because hopefully they're on our side, but some focus group testing.
Focus group testing. That's a good call. All right, who's in charge?
And
of
we'll
that?
see. We'll see how it plays.
Okay.
And there's a good chance it won't be that, but maybe they will. Maybe we'll get just an absolute bunch of love to that, and then we will use pen names and never let it be known it came from us.
Except the evidence of this live stream right now.
Yeah, except for the
Yeah, but no
evidence.
one knows who we are except for me. They'll be able to finger my name because of previous live streams. The rest of you will be fine. Just make sure that you protect your identity.
All right.
I think we've spilled all of our first names. I think.
But
And-
all of our first names have been revealed, but I think only Todd's last name has been.
No, mine too, unfortunately.
My
Sorry.
last name has been spelled.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh shit! Well, it will be spelled.
Dimitri's definitely was. I do remember that. Sorry. Or it does.
It's fine. I mean, right now, just by knowing my first name and the things I can do on here, someone could figure. So
I suppose, yeah, somebody with skills. My name, I guess, will be on the Kickstarter, so it'll no longer be a secret if it is a secret now.
Sounds good.
that's right. I'm never running for public office. I'm good. You may want to get out while you still can, Draken.
They only know me by Draken. I'll make it.
Tracking the invincible.
I think it's Draken.
Do we wanna give some tasks to Dr. Butts?
I really want to make a joke about do we want the task to be completed, but I know if we give a task to Dr. Butts, he'd get it done.
You get it done. That's
So,
right.
so what Dr. Butts could probably add that we really need is some real world building, some real, like, what's the essence of Fight Planet? Seeing as it came out of both your and his deranged mind,
Yes.
seems like a good thing for him to do.
That would be actually really helpful.
Okay,
Because that is.
perfect.
So if he types up a paragraph or two paragraphs that's welcome to Fight Planet,
Yep, there's paragraph 1.
then
Sorry.
Guess we can get that done right now, too. Let's just pick up the Kickstarter website and get that done.
Having Nick contribute something about the world, and maybe optional 2 could be Nick browses my rules and says things about them. Because he's not. I think Nick might be the kind of person that would be good for that sort of thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess I'll need some kind of a Kickstarter video.
Oh God.
Don't worry. If we have a little bit of art,
Okay, right. Art,
you-
an Apple iMovie, right? Yeah, you can use.
we'll be
A
fine.
voice changer.
Welcome to Fight Planet.
In the grim dark future, there is only Fight Planet.
You get off your pod and you are dead. Tits.
No, it's tits. You gotta put that exclamation point behind
yeah,
it. Or you're not doing it right.
Crotch. What was the other thing we were going to give to Dr. Butts to do? Oh, yeah, read the rules.
That would be good. He'll read the rules, and then he will probably provide commentary all on his own. So that would be great.
Okay, so the give commentary is implied.
Is implied in just reading the rules. Yes. Read the rules. Tell us more about Fight Planet, the boyhood fantasy of Dr. Butts and Dungeon Boy Girl.
We before have established that it is a very mature, as it occurred in college, which is where all the mature fantasies about fighting on a planet come from.
That's right.
All right, okay.
Wait, you guys came up with this in college?
I know, right? It surprises the crap out of me. Like,
I thought it was like middle school.
I'm glad we're coming back to this because I agree. Like, They were apparently in their 20s, and their minds were back when they were like 12.
Amazing. Amazing. It's really.
That has made this 93-minute live stream worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Impressive. All right. So, are we good?
I think so. Let me. Well, if you guys got anything else, I'll turn off the Kickstarter. I mean, turn off the live stream, and then we can say goodbye or whatever.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, or whatever.
Thank you everybody for tuning in today for Kickstarter, the Boyhood Fantasy Planet where everybody is fighting. Go ahead and hit subscribe, and then you'll get our next video, and we'll be like, whoa, Curry and Kickstarters. And then, what else? Do we got anything else?
At some point, we'll get back to the original thing we were doing with this live stream, which is understanding like, how to DM.
Oh,
but
right. How to build worlds in Dungeon Master good.
That's right. Yeah. Coming eventually.
we're doing it right now. We're building a wonderful world, and we're doing it with Curry. It's good.
You're building a world with courage
Yeah.
and fighting.
Rule 1 of world building. Don't get distracted and do a Kickstarter. Alright.
Good.
Thank you everybody for joining us. Hit subscribe, leave your comments in the comment machine, and we love you. I think.
Oh, I'm not ready yet.
Oh, okay. We're non-committal,
Thank you.
but we like you.